Have you ever gone to bed and suddenly remembered something embarrassing you said 3 years ago? You replay the conversation. You think about what you should have said. Then you imagine what the other person might have thought. And somehow, one tiny conversation becomes a full courtroom trial inside your head. If you've experienced this, you might call yourself an overthinker. But here's the interesting part. Thinking a lot isn't necessarily the problem. Your mind is designed to think, predict, remember, compare, and solve problems. The real question is, when does useful thinking become a loop? Think about this. You make a mistake. Your mind immediately asks, what happened? Why did it happen? How could I prevent it next time? That can actually be useful. Thinking about an experience can help you learn from it, prepare for the future, or figure out what to do differently. So the goal isn't to become someone who never thinks deeply. The goal is to recognize when your thinking is actually taking you somewhere, and when you're simply going around in circles. Let's say you send someone a message. They don't reply. At first, you think, maybe they're busy. 10 minutes pass. Did I say something wrong? Another hour passes. Maybe they're angry with me. Then your mind starts generating possibilities. Maybe they don't like me anymore. Maybe I embarrass myself. What if I ruined the relationship? Notice what happened. You started with uncertainty, and your mind started producing explanations. Psychologists use the term intolerance of uncertainty to describe a tendency to respond negatively to situations where important information is unknown. And when uncertainty feels uncomfortable, the mind may keep searching for an answer. The problem is, sometimes there is no answer yet. And this is where we need to make an important distinction. Not all overthinking is the same. When your thoughts repeatedly circle around something negative that happened, psychologists may describe this as rumination. For example, why did I do that? Why did they treat me that way? Why didn't I say something? But when your thoughts focus more on what might happen in the future, that's closer to worry. What if they reject me? What if I fail? What if something goes wrong? They overlap, but they're not identical. One often pulls you toward what has already happened. The other often pulls you toward what might happen. And both can become repetitive. Here's the tricky part. Rumination can feel like problem solving. You're thinking, you're analyzing, you're searching for an explanation. So your mind may give you the feeling that, if I just think about this a little longer, I'll finally figure it out. But sometimes, you aren't producing a new answer. You're simply repeating the same question in different forms. Why did this happen? Why am I like this? What should I have done? Why didn't I do it? And then, back to the beginning. That's the loop. Research distinguishes between more constructive reflection and a more passive, brooding form of repetitive thinking. The difference isn't simply whether you're thinking about something difficult. It's whether the thinking is helping you move toward understanding, problem solving, or action, or keeping you stuck in the same negative cycle. So let's make this practical. Imagine you failed an exam. Rumination might sound like, I'm so stupid. Why do I always mess things up? Everyone else is better than me. I should have known this. Notice something. The thoughts are emotionally intense, but they're not necessarily producing a useful next step. Now compare that with reflection. What topics did I misunderstand? How did I prepare? What study method didn't work? What can I change before the next exam? That's still thinking, but it's thinking with a destination. And that distinction matters. The goal isn't think less. The goal is think more purposefully. So how do you break the loop? The first step is simply to notice it. Ask yourself, am I solving something right now? Or am I replaying it? If you're solving something, identify the next action. What can you actually do? Write it down. Make the call. Have the conversation. Study the topic. Make the plan. But if there is nothing you can change right now, recognize that too. Because sometimes the mind keeps searching for certainty where certainty simply isn't available yet. And in those moments, the skill isn't finding another thought. It's learning to tolerate not having the answer immediately. So the next time you catch yourself thinking about the same problem for the 10th time, don't immediately tell yourself, I need to stop thinking. Instead, ask, is this thought taking me somewhere? If it is, follow it. Learn from it. Make a plan. But if it's taking you around the same circle, pause. You may not need another answer. You may need to step out of the loop, because a thoughtful mind is powerful. But a mind that never knows when to stop can become its own echo. This is Mindful Pathways. Understand your mind. Navigate your life.